Well, guys, before I got too far here, I remembered. I forgot to let you guys follow along on the build. So here we are. This piece right here is already made up, tacked up rather. As you can see, there's holes in here. You know what? I'll flip the camera around for you guys. As you can see, there's a tack weld here. I think I probably put 3 or 4 of them on here. And then you can see these holes here. These are going to be rosette welds. This is all just in the mock-up phase, of course, so they're not finished welded. I'll finish welding everything once everything is fully set. As you can see, this nut is no freaking good, because you gotta watch out for that. See how it's tight there? It's tight there, and it's loose there. You can kind of see that gap there. So nuts are mass produced. Getting a little bit off topic here. Nuts are mass produced, and these threads on this one are slightly crooked. So on the jam nut, this jam nut's gonna fail me. It's a brand new nut, but the threads aren't perfectly square, so it's not lining up perfectly to the face of this deal. So when you go to jam that up, it's actually only touching here, and there's an air gap here. It's only a couple thousandths, but it's not touching. So these holes here are rosette welds. This will be a butt weld 360 degrees, and then there's 4 rosette welds. These are 3/8 holes here, and 3/8. So you can see here, butt welded and a rosette weld. This is a female hind joint. Females either have dash marks on them, or depending on the manufacturer, sometimes they put nothing on them just to play with your feelings. So these nuts have dash marks. If it's a dash mark, you know it's a left-hand thread, which means it's lefty tighty, righty loosey, absolutely backwards. So I'm gonna get ready to tack this one up, and then we'll put it in the car. Maddy and Snacks and Race Cars are out. They're attempting to build or make the first bar on the natural born hustler out there. They're out there playing along, and they're kind of learning together. So it's 1.5-inch tubing. It's about I don't know, $8-10 a foot, and it's a 19-inch piece. So worst comes worst, it's $20, and they figure out how to do it. They learn how to make this bar. So worst comes worst, we could use it as something else. It's not a super long bar, so the small bars are the best ones to learn on. So I'm gonna get back to finishing this up, then we'll go check up on those guys. So guys, my phone's only at a couple percent, so I'm gonna have to get rid of you guys shortly and get to work and put this thing on the charger. But I'll give you a little update on what I'm doing. So right now, this is the rear suspension setup on the car. As you can see, there's no method. There's the anti-roll bar sitting back there. Did that last night, this morning, whatever you want to call it. And we got the ladder bar set up here, but we got to keep away from the rear end rotating like this. Or not rotating like this, that's the anti-roll bar. Shifting the car left to right. If we had to put rear steer in it, or you gotta just keep the rear end centered. So there's different methods that I'll go into detail maybe later in this video or in a future video. But you could either do like a wishbone, a Watts link, a panhard bar, triangulated 4-link setup, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna triangulate the lower bars here, but I can't do a normal X in there. So I actually went and laid on the ground down there for a little bit, crawled up underneath. Well, actually went in through there, crawled underneath back there, and was laying down there for about 5 minutes and almost fell asleep, but I didn't, so we're still working here. I'm gonna run a cross brace, and we're gonna do it kind of unconventionally, but it'll have plenty of strength. We're gonna actually run a crossbar from here to here. The problem is, if you look at it from this profile, the drive shaft angle here, when I go to make my adjustments and stuff like that, we're going to get really tight on our drive shaft with the amount of travel that we run in this car, or that I plan on running in the car here. So we can't have an X in the middle here, our point in the middle, and we can't have it necessarily on the upper bars, because the upper bars, when they go to, if we put side loaded on them, it's going to try to roll these over. Now, if your heim joints and everything is tight, that's all going to work, but potential issues there. So since this pickup point right here is on the chassis and there's no flex in it, okay, we can use this lower bar and tie it together. So with the pinion angle and everything like that, we're going to run a crossbar that goes from there to there, right at the base of the end of the tubing / the bungs right there, and then we're going to do like a K-style deal. So it's going to come up from underneath the pinion and up into that point there, and the same on the other side. And then I'll have some bracing in there underneath the yoke slash the pinion for the third member there, right under there. So that'll give us plenty of room to make our pinion angle changes, plenty of room to make our ladder bar pickup point changes, our bar angle changes, and basically change the height of the pinion and the angle of everything, and still have room by moving our X back down there, turning it more into a K-style setup instead of a normal X where your point would be 6-8 inches farther forward. So I think it should work out pretty well, and we'll get after that here right now. But I'm putting you on the charger. I'm gonna go cut up some bars and get it. Guys, we know our frame rails are 90 degrees to our main hoop, 90 degrees to our mid plate, so on and so forth. I already went through and I went and ran a crossbar between the main hoop here and just clamped it into place and measured back to the rear end. Made sure the rear end was in there symmetrical, left to right. I also know that it's square because I built it, and we've been going through that process as you followed along, or you haven't followed along. If you didn't, you go back into the videos. So measured from the mid plate back to pickup points on the rear end housing, pickup points on the rear end housing, whether it's the 4-link brackets. I measured in multiple locations to make sure that's 100% square. Now we got these big metal aluminum tubes here on the inside of the frame rails, just clamped to it. You could see it there. Simple stuff. Flat stock works, but angle or square tubing is a little bit better because it gives you a nice fine edge. And now I'm gonna crawl in here, and one of these guys right here is extremely handy to have. One of these guys right here. So I'm gonna see if I could film this with one hand, but this is why it is so important. So we're gonna go over here. We'll go to a 1/16 of an inch. Line that up here. Boo doo doo. Come on, focus. Be right back. We have a little more light on this situation since we're outside working outside. We're gonna go put this on here and put it flush on there and flush on there, and you can see it's just under 2 1/8, okay, or 2 1/16. It's less than that, right? We look at it flush, it's less than that. So we'll come over to this side. We'll do the same thing. You got to roll the measuring tape over. As you can see, there's just under 2 1/16. Now we're gonna flip this guy over here. These things are extremely handy to have. We're gonna flip this guy over, and we're gonna go here. And we're gonna go to 30 seconds. You can see we're putting this flush against here, rocking it, doo doo doo. We're gonna go in there, and it is 2 1/32. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see all the marks there, all the way to 32. All right. It is 2 1/32. There's no BS in this thing. Okay. Right here, we go through. You can see. I'll get my phone in here. 2 1/32. You can see it. Boom. 2 1/32. So we know this is all in square. We're gonna weld this bar in here, and then I'm gonna go through and do my pickup points. It is 3:30 in the morning. There's not a soul in sight. Just a young guy working on a race car on a Monday night, Tuesday night, whatever it is here. But it was a fairly successful day. You saw me get pretty particular there, okay? But in my opinion, there's right, and then there's how much you're willing to deviate from right. And certain things, especially on a race car, especially going the speeds that we're going, it has to be right, okay? There's certain things in life where you're allowed to have deviations and this and that, and like margins of error, and like, of course, that just is what it is. And you definitely don't want to be a perfectionist, but at the same time, there is only one right. It just is what it is. I was told that at a fairly young age from a pretty successful guy. He says there's right, and there's how much you're willing to deviate from right. And it kind of stuck with me a little bit. So it doesn't have to all be perfect, of course not. But there's always that's where it brings it on yourself to be right, right? There's a lot of things in life where, uh, just like morals and character and this and that and everything else, where it's you. How do I say it? Hmm. Give me a second. I'm trying to think about this one. It's character, right? It's what you do when no one else is looking, and there's that ties into doing stuff like right as well, right? So there's a lot of things where you could take a shortcut and no one would know you took a shortcut, and it might be perfectly fine to take that shortcut, right? But it's on the individual to either do it right or take that shortcut. And there's just it just goes that way sometimes, right? It just is what it is. But on stuff like this, um, I'm pretty damn particular. Now, maybe that's coming from the guy that essentially saved himself twice, built two cars that saved himself. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Maybe that has a factor in it. Maybe it doesn't. But um, I can't really say it does, because I was pretty particular on the Dirty 30, and I never had to save my life before that I lost that car. And the homegrown hustler, that car, everything in that car was within zero point zero 0.05 of 1 degree, as far as like the main hoop and all the structure parts of the car. That is pretty damn freaking accurate. Okay, um, this car, it's right on par with that. Of course, there's a couple bars like this one and the other one, those little support gussets. They might be off like a eighth inch or something like that, or whatever, eighth inch as far as like the length of them. But they're not structural bars. They're not where pickup points are. Uh, they might be dead on. They probably are, because I'm just particular like that. But they don't have to be. Okay, it's just that personal discretion in there. But it's 3:30 in the morning. Well, basically 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, and I think I'm gonna wrap this up. Put some tools away, wash up a bit, and go get a nap. And we'll be back at it in the morning. So, guys, I greatly appreciate everyone that likes and subscribes to the channel. I appreciate Race Cars and Snacks, Caden, the son of Boosted is my friend, helping out. It means a lot. Lady Gangster spent some time, and we got all this stuff done. So that was pretty cool, pretty helpful. They all fit pretty freaking nice. You can see here, yes, there's that line there because that's back cut. But I promise you, if you get a 16th filler rod, it ain't fitting in there. It is a really tight gap, but there's a back cut on it, like I've talked about in previous videos. You got to have a back cut there so you're welding to the full thickness of the material. So, yeah, we got the front supports in there, so on and so forth. I might try to see if I can get the seat off of those guys at Flying Hammer, because that guy right there, it's fairly comfortable and it doesn't weigh a damn thing. I'm guessing it's something that Tom made for, I don't know, his kid's lawn tractor or something like that, but I kind of like it. So all that stuff's in. We got anti-roll bar, start of anti-roll bars in, rear fuel cell, all that stuff is marked out there. Drive shaft is just laying in there mocked up because I had to know articulation and stuff like that. I did that earlier, several videos ago, but I never put it in the video. But I did run the measure everything through the articulation of our suspension travel, because we run 7.5 inches of travel, 7.5 inches of total travel in these Viking shocks. And then you can see the upper and the lower bars are clamped together right now to keep them perfectly in line until I get all the fab work done there. This car is parallel. Sometimes you can do a lighter bar car with a slight taper, a 10-degree taper, 5, 10, 20-degree taper. Maybe not 20, but 5, 10 degrees, where you have something like maybe 24 inches in the rear and 20 inches in the front, or 18 inches in the front. And that helps keep everything center. But the way I'm doing the triangulated lower bars here, it'll be very strong and very adjustable as well. Plus, it gives me enough room to get the center section out for a quick gear change, and also will give me a spot to actually rest my arms, or Maddy rest her arms, to pull the center section out of the car, but still have plenty of room to drop that out. So, yeah, we're going to be doing a transmission slide on this car. I haven't done it yet. Once we get the floor bracing in there and stuff like that, I'll actually do a deal so we could actually slide the transmission back, so I could do a converter swap without having any real tools, just the 6 3/8 bolts and converter bolts. Slide that sucker back. Of course, you got to take the drive shaft out. Slide that sucker back 8-10 inches to be able to drop the converter out of it and change the sprag or stator, so on and so forth, in the converter. Make the changes there. So trying to make this car as easy to work on as possible. So guys, it's a 6-minute video right here of me talking and explaining some things. We might have to break this up into 2 videos, but basically this is the end of day 8 working on the car, and just me, myself, and I. Besides, you know, Caden comes over and Maddy helps out a little bit here and there when she's not busy doing some other stuff. So yeah, moving along pretty good for essentially a one-man crew right now. So keep on hustling. We're at it.